Excellent. Thank you guys again so much for joining us this morning. Cami from the OU Money Coaches Program will be telling us or helping us figure out ways, tips on budgeting our money and being successful at it, telling it where to go and all that stuff, and really helping us be successful with our money and what goals you may have. So Cami, thank you so much for joining us this morning, and I'll let you take it away.
Thank you for having me. Welcome, everyone. I'm so glad you're here. In case you haven't met me before, my name is Cami. I am one of the money coaches here at OU. We have several on staff. And yeah, I just want to talk to you about ways to become a money rock star. And really, you are already money rock stars, whether you want to admit it or not. But, you have the potential to always sharpen your skills and become even better rock stars than you already are. So that's what we're going to talk about, ways that you can become money rock stars. But it doesn't start on the stage, does it? Think about any musician that you love or you've gone to their concert. They did not start on the stage. Where did they start? Maybe in their parents' garage, maybe with some lessons. Maybe they got a keyboard for Christmas and they started learning how to play the keyboard. So it starts singing in the shower. Yes, it just sounds better in the shower. I don't know why, but it does. So it starts well before we ever get on the stage. We have to hone those skills. And when you first start budgeting, if you don't already budget, if you don't keep track of where you spend your money, just like any skill, the more you practice, the better you get at it. So let's talk about some of the financial skills you will need. First, some organization skills. And there are different types of organization. I do think of myself as a pretty organized person, but I also know there are people out there who are organized to themselves, but maybe other people do not understand their organization method, right? Like, where everything is in your household, but to someone else, it may not look so organized. So it doesn't really matter what level of organization skills you have, but you have to have some kind of organization when it comes to your finances. The next skill, observation and awareness. You have to know where your money is going. I definitely was one of those people when I was younger that I would just not pay attention, to be quite honest, like just swipe the debit card or write the checks, spend the money, go get the cash out of the ATM. And I wasn't keeping track of my spending. Definitely when I was a student at OU, I was not aware of where my money was going. And so do any of you relate to that you're like, yeah, I remember, or maybe you still are this way. You're like, I try not to pay attention. It scares me. Like when I pull up my bank app on my phone, I'm like, what's going to be there? I don't even know. Or maybe you all are already well aware of where your money is going, but we can always improve, right? That's why we're here. Goal setting. I think it's really important to have financial goals. I used to be that way when I was younger. Yeah, we tend to get better at it, right? All these skills, all of these skills, we get better as we go. Although I will say goal setting, I remember in junior high setting goals and putting them on the back of my door every year of what I wanted to achieve that year. So some people are just better at goal setting than others, but we need to have both short-term and long-term goals set for ourselves. Our short-term goals can actually help us meet our long-term goals. So when I say short-term, I mean like less than 5 years, long-term, more than 5 years. I actually get scared when I look at the back at the end of the month and see all the Sam's and Walmart transactions. I have said many a times, Walmart takes all my money. Yeah, I'm almost 50 and sometimes I act like a 12-year-old with my credit card. Okay, yeah, I'm sure so many people can relate to that, Tiffany. I used to track and reconcile and see expense categories. The program I used quit working and I just never started. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about that today, Donna. I can give you some suggestions of how to get that going again. And I went through a period where I stopped tracking my expenses. I would have my budget set, but I wasn't necessarily tracking it all the time. I don't know the answer to that one. The other Lindsay may be able to answer that one. Okay, so goal setting, asking questions. Amazon, ever get packages and forget what you ordered? Yeah, okay, so I'm going to talk about an Amazon purchase a little bit later of mine that you may relate to. Okay, I'm going to asking questions, guys. Now, some of you may hate asking questions, but I think it's very important. This is how we learn. I know talking about money used to be taboo. It is not taboo anymore, guys. We need to be talking and asking questions. This is how we're going to learn. And then sacrificing in the short term to support the long term. This actually gets easier with age, but still something that many of us struggle with. All right. So let's start. I'm going to actually give you 5 tips. All right, today we're going to start with number 1, define your sound. What are you going to be known for? What is you, right? What's your personality? What are your priorities? What do you want to reflect about yourself? Okay, so maybe you want to be a classical pianist. Maybe you want to be a hip hop star, maybe a pop star. I don't know, a rock star. You have to figure out what's important to you, and you have to identify that. So find out, what are your financial goals and priorities? What is important to you? What goals do you want to achieve? Until this is in front of your face and you've identified them, and I mean like writing them down somewhere, as simple as what I did in junior high, writing my goals in the back of my door, or putting it in your office. Maybe it's a Post-it note, somewhere where you can see your goals and your priorities and what's important to you. This is very important because your spending should be aligned to those priorities. If you say to me, paying off my credit card debt is very important to me, but then you look at your spending and see that you're charging on your credit card every single month, or you're spending your money on maybe frivolous items that really you wanted to go towards your credit card debt, see that your spending would not be aligned to what's important to you. So for example, for me, my priorities are it's my family, it's my children and my husband. So saving for my kids' college is a priority. So that became a financial goal for us. Paying for their expensive sports. Yeah, I mean, I know some people do not value that. I do. Some people value time with friends and family, going out to eat with friends and family. So first, identify your goals and in your priorities, and so that you can make sure your spending is aligned with that. We don't have time today for you to really have time to write that down, but I really encourage you to do that today. Write down both your short-term and long-term goals and your priorities so we can make sure that budget reflects that. And here's another activity I want you to do when you're doing your goals. I want you to write down the last 10 places where you've purchased money, or the last 10 things you've purchased, okay? And then I want you to rank them from most important to least important to you. And I really want you to reflect and think about, are these purchases aligned with what I said is my priority, right? Because that's where we're really going to grow, is figuring out where our money is going and making sure that our money is going towards the things that are important to us. And it helps us avoid spending regrets, right? When we are tempted to spend money in a way that does not align with our priorities and our goals, it can help curb that spending. So right now, Karen, you mentioned about the Amazon order. I want you all, if you are willing to do it, throw in the chat. There's 77 of us here, so we all can be vulnerable. things that you have regretted spending your money on? Is this including the monthly reoccurring subscriptions? Okay. If the monthly reoccurring subscriptions are important to you and what you prioritize, then absolutely they should be in your budget. If they are not, take them out. And that's the thing about subscriptions. And this is why companies love subscriptions. They're hoping you sign up and you totally forget about it. And you just keep doing that over and over again. So you have to decide if those subscriptions align with what's important to you, right? And prioritize that. Yeah. Okay. So maybe having Hulu is important to you because you cut out cable and Hulu's much cheaper, but also you are trying to get out of debt, or you're saving up for new tires because you really need new tires. Which one's more important, right? Prioritize your spending habits. I love everything that you were telling me that you were regretting. I want to share with you one of the things that I regretted. Last December, okay, I don't know if I should share this. Last December, I purchased a confetti cannon, a box of confetti cannons, actually, 5 of them. I was watching TikToks where this wife and husband kept like blowing them up at each other and like scaring each other. And it became an impulse purchase for me. And, it wasn't too much of a regret, because I will say the more money we spend in purchases, the more likely we are to regret. But yeah, I bought it last December, and until last week, I thought that box of confetti cannons was a waste of money. However, last week I found a reason to use it, and I finally did. So it's no longer a regret for me. Tiffany, I regret nothing. I love it. I love it. Okay, good. All right. So we are going to set financial goals, right? What are they? And we need your financial goals to be specific. You can't just say, hey, Cami, I want to be better with money. That is not specific enough. We need to be more specific than that. And the goal has to be measurable. So if you said to me, Cami, I want to spend less money on eating out each month, that is more specific. So let's figure out a way to measure it. It can be a thing of how many times you go out to eat each week. Maybe you say, I go out to eat 5 times a week. I want to cut that back to 3 times a week. Okay. Specific, measurable. Or Cami, I spent about $300 a month eating out last month, and I want to cut that back to about $200 a month. Okay. Specific, measurable. So identify your goals, but make sure that they are specific and measurable. And you can write down like very vague goals and then try to figure out a way to make it specific and measurable. All right. Yes. Okay. Health is so important. I'm not reading this conversation too closely, but I will say health is very important. So spending money on good food for your body, spending money on exercise equipment, yes, that's okay. And again, I'm not telling you how to spend your money. You're choosing that. You're choosing your priorities. You're choosing your goals. Okay. Step number 2, practice. Again, the more we practice, the better we get at it very quickly. So I am not musically inclined. I do not play an instrument. I am not a good singer. I wanted to join my church choir. So I literally started voice lessons just to join my choir. Yes, that's how bad of a singer I was. Okay. So then I felt confident enough to join the choir, but I kept my microphone off for a while. I did not turn it on for, I don't even know how long, but it took me a bit to turn my microphone on. So it took me practice to get to the place that I was feeling more confident about my skill. So just like anything, becoming a budgeting rock star is the same thing. We have to practice. Okay. So number 1, what do you have to spend? And you can do this by month. I have an Excel spreadsheet for my monthly spending, but I also break it down into pay periods. I know exactly what bills I have to pay within each pay period and other expenses that are important to us that are maybe like on auto draft or things that we feel like are important that we're willing to keep it into our budget. Okay. So the 1st through the 15th, I know exactly what I need to pay. And then I know exactly how much I have left over for what I call discretionary spending. Right. And then same thing with my the 16th through the 30th, right? So you can do it however you want. If you are in the service industry, I know that we may have some college students on this call. If you're in the service industry, you may want to budget it by week, right? What bills do you have this week? What money do you have left over to spend? Okay, what do you have to spend? How do you plan to spend it, right? You get to decide that. And then you have to reflect. Did you spend it that way? You have to have a way to look back on your spending to make sure that it actually went in the way that you wanted to go. And do you need to adjust for next time? And the answer to that is probably yes. Okay. Your budget is a living, breathing document. It's constantly going to be changing. And when you first start, you're not going to be great at it, just to be honest, right? Like you may need to keep your microphone off for a while, but then you'll get better at it and you can have less to adjust month after month. A great way to get started is to look back at your current spending. If you look back at August spending, that can help you, and your current September spending, that might help you set up your October budget. Again, for me, I do it by month. I have a September budget. I haven't set my October budget yet. And then I break it down into pay periods as well. All right. And so it's very simple. You set your categories and how much you want to spend in each category. In high school, it could not be easier, right? We had less money. We had less categories. It does get more difficult the older we get. So in college, we add extra things, right? Especially when students start living off campus. Do you have any advice on how to save money on healthier groceries? Absolutely, Crystal. So I actually have a coupon presentation, and believe it or not, they have coupons and deals for healthy food. Let's talk more about that at the end. I'm going to open it up for questions at the end. So there's a couple of apps I want to share with you at the end, Crystal. Don't let me forget to talk to you about healthier foods, because yes, I think it's very important to prioritize health. Okay, so college, you just a little bit more complicated, and then post-college, it gets more complicated, right? But it's the same concept. You set up your categories, how much you plan to spend each month in that category, right? That's a budget. No, I'm not going over couponing today. Okay, and then track your spending to make sure that it actually went where you wanted it to go. So you maybe set up your eating out budget for $200. That was your budget. But tracking your expenses is a way for you to see, did you actually meet that goal? Turns out you didn't, you went $50 over, okay? Maybe you went $50 over because you spent more than what you really should have. Maybe you could have stayed to that $200, but you chose not to, right? Or maybe you went over because it was unrealistic to begin with. And that's the thing about when we first start setting these budgets, is figuring out what is super realistic for our budget, right? Maybe if we would have spent just a little bit more on groceries and less on miscellaneous items, we would have been able to stay within our budget. Now, I use an Excel spreadsheet to track my expenses. I really love my Excel spreadsheet because My income does not fluctuate month to month. My fixed expenses that are either bills that I have to pay or my auto draft, those don't change month to month. So I just copy paste those. It's the other categories that change month to month. Like I know my family of 4, we spend about $200 a week on groceries. I know that, but I have to track it to see if we actually ended up doing that, right? So I use an Excel spreadsheet. I would love for you to share in the comments what apps or methods you use to track your expenses. Every Dollar is an app that we highly recommend. Good Budget is an app we highly recommend. Pencil and paper is a great way to budget. Anyone want to share your method or your apps that you use? John uses an Excel spreadsheet as well. I said pencil and paper. There are calendars. You can do calendars. Okay, free safe app. Yes, Every Dollar and Good Budget. Those are safe apps. They are free. They're just like Excel spreadsheets. You set up your categories of spending, and then you have to go in and track what you spend your money on. Mint connects to your bank app. So if you don't feel comfortable with that, you may not want to do it. You do need to, oh, hello, Money Mike in the house. Excel always, yes, we share a love for Excel spreadsheets. Okay, so Mint connects to your bank. So if you don't feel comfortable, don't do that, but it does track your spending for you. However, those categories can be a little wonky. So it may not work 100% the way you want it to, but it is a good app. But yeah, you have to figure out what's best for you. Some banks provide it, just like Mint, where it categorizes your spending for you, but those categories may not work. One of the reasons why it doesn't really work for me is because I have 2 checking accounts and 3 savings accounts at another bank. I don't use just one account for my budgeting. I have 2 checking accounts for needs and wants, and I have 3 savings accounts over at a different bank for my different financial goals that I'm trying to achieve. So if I use Mint app to one of those accounts, it would not really reflect what I'm doing with my budget. Anyone else want to suggest any ideas of ways to track your spending? I mean, guys, that's it. How much money do you have? How do you plan to spend it? Did you spend it that way? What do you need to adjust for next time? Yeah, let me put it in the chat. Every Dollar and Good Budget. They're both free budgeting apps. Okay. If you find that you are not able to stick to your budget, you have 2 options: spend less or get more. It's that simple. Spend less or get more. Spending less tends to be easier. It's something we can do in the immediate. When inflation started happening, one of the things I started doing is couponing to spend less money. And so we can cut things out, right? That is something we have more control over. Getting more money could take a little bit more time. So let's talk about getting more money, marketing yourself in a way that you can make more money. I really want to focus on my students in here that are, I know we have faculty and staff in here. You already have a good job with great benefits. So congratulations, that's fantastic. But for our college students, they're still trying to figure it out. Ask questions. I was an education major when I first started college. I was asking around about different majors, and that's when I found out about advertising. So I ended up getting a degree from advertising from OU by asking questions and finding out about it from other people. Networking. Guys, if you're an introvert, don't freak out on me. I'm not having you go out and talk about yourself. You ask people questions about their job and you learn about it from them. They're the ones doing all the talking. All you have to do is ask questions. People love to talk about themselves, I promise. And then research, do your research. What I have found is that a lot of college students overestimate what they're expected to make with their degree when they graduate. I highly encourage you to visit the OU Career Center. They can help you build your resume. They can help you with interviewing skills. They can give you more realistic starting salaries, and so you can have that expectation. But if you already have a good job and you don't want another job, second job, side hustles are a good way to go. A lot of people do it, especially when they're trying to get out of debt. This is a great way to try to tackle your debt. So it may be something temporary, not permanent for you. You never know. I mean, these things can end up being permanent. I'm not going to go through pros and cons. If y'all want to put in pros and cons to a second job in the chat, go for it. I'm not going to do that. I am going to go ahead and go to number 4. Don't let the lifestyle change you. When you become this money rock star, don't let it change you, right? All right, so stay true to your goals. And this is why it's so important for you to have your goals in mind and your priorities, because companies are marketing to you all the time, and they are trying to get you to spend money where you maybe weren't planning on spending money, or more money than what you were actually planning on spending. I mean, so many people fall victim to that 50% off or BOGO or any kind of sell. Okay. Newsflash, if something costs $1,000 and it's on sale for $50 to $500, you didn't save $500. You still spent $500. And if that's not part of your priorities or goals, then you shouldn't have spent that $500, right? How many of you have spent more on items because you wanted the free shipping? Like you're like, no, I don't want to spend $7 on shipping, so I'm going to spend an extra $20 on products. Yes, they're hoping you do that, right? Also, Amazon, we talked about Amazon already. Customers also bought. Have you ever looked at that and thought, what do they know that I don't know? Maybe I should be buying this because they know something that I don't know. Yeah, they're just trying to get you to spend more money, right? So knowing your goals, staying true to your goals and your priorities can help you. Right. Unless $1,000 was already part of the budget, it was already planned purchase. Yes, Ian, absolutely. If you knew you had to buy a new refrigerator, get the refrigerator on sale, right? Absolutely. Yes, the recording is going to be shared. Absolutely. Okay. So there's this fancy schmancy concept called the Hedonic Treadmill. And basically it means as we spend more money, we buy things, we get used to it, and then we spend more money, right? We always, when I'm talking to students about money management, I always tell them, don't fall victim to lifestyle creep or lifestyle inflation. If you get a raise at work, don't start spending more money, because you're eventually going to feel poor again, right? You feel poor, you get a raise, you spend more money, you're going to feel poor again. Instead, use that raise to do something that you were wanting to do that you couldn't afford to do in the first place, like save for the tires, save for the new refrigerator, save for vacation, like identify what those goals are. So when you get that raise, you can do that. Maybe you weren't investing enough for retirement. So now you can do that. Definitely fell victim to that. Yeah. But pandemic was hard and things are going to go wrong, right? Like we don't know when a pandemic's going to hit. We don't know when an emergency is going to hit. We have to be prepared for things to go wrong. That's why I always say, save some money. There's this rule called the 50-30-20 rule, where you spend 50% on wants, 30% on needs, 20% saving and investing. That way, when the emergencies hit, yes, Lisa, there are always emergencies. Yes. When it hits, you have money to do that. I've been married 22 years and I have had to dip into my emergency fund numerous times. Again, even though I said the 50-30-20 rule, that's just a guide. You get to do what's important to you. Maybe you don't want to spend 50% on needs. Maybe you want some extra money to spend on more wants, or maybe you have to throw debt in there. So you want to shrink your needs and wants to pay off debt, or maybe you want financial freedom. You want to retire early. So you're going to shrink your needs and wants as low as possible so you can save and invest way more than 20%, right? So I'm not here to tell you how to spend your money. I'm just telling you, make sure your priorities and your spending are aligned. Fifth and final tip, have a rock star crew, right? Justin Bieber, when he goes on tour, he's not going to show up and put up his own lights and build his own stage, is he? No, he has a crew to help him. You can have a crew too. Your friends, your family. If things go wrong, who do you go to? Where do you go to? If you want to share in this chat, go ahead and do that, right? Where do you go when things are going wrong financially? And then talk about money. You are the rock star. Share your knowledge, even if you don't think you're the rock star, right? Yeah, we all have room to grow. But what have you learned? Share that. What have you learned about saving for retirement? What have you learned about investing? What have you learned about budgeting? What have you learned about taxes? Share that knowledge, because let's see, how many of us are on this call? 73 now. If 73 of us talk to 3 people about money, think about the financial literacy that we would have on campus or across our 3 campuses. Think about how much we would improve in our financial literacy skills if we would talk about it. Again, money is no longer taboo. Talk about it. Let me be part of your crew. If you have any questions, I'm going to open it up for questions. But if you have questions that you don't want to share right now, maybe you want to meet to set up a budget, or you want to meet to learn more financial literacy skills, let me be part of your crew. Email me. I would be happy to help you set up a budget. I'd be happy to share my Excel spreadsheet with you, whatever you want. I'll even share Mike's spreadsheet with you, because Money Mike has a great spreadsheet as well. But yeah, what I want to do right now is just remind you, you all are money rock stars, and I want to open it up for questions. Does anyone have any questions for me? Maybe I missed it.
And a quick reminder, the shopping for healthier food or trying to go that route on kind of tips, maybe. I know you mentioned couponing, but you had some other stuff.
Yes. So when I started couponing, I'm trying to find that folder. I also started participating in rebate apps, and Ibotta is one that I like a lot, and Fetch is another one. Wish I had my code right here, because if I shared my code with you, I would get some money back if you use my Ibotta and my Fetch codes and my Upside code. So I started using rebate apps to help save me money. Ibotta does have healthy food options on there. They do have Whole Foods and different, it's not just Walmart, Sam's, and Target. Okay. All right, guys, I'm seeing a couple of things. Where would we set up a meeting? We can do it on Zoom. Love to meet with you on Zoom. I got a private message. Yes, email me to set up a meeting. We can set up a meeting on Zoom. Our upcoming seminars, Lindsay sends out that information. Lindsay, when you send out the email with the recording and the slides, can you also share our upcoming seminars, the dates of those for people that are asking?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll look at including those, and it looks like we have some interest in the couponing workshop, so we can look at scheduling that with you and then advertising that as well.
Okay, yeah, so we're going to schedule a coupon, a presentation, so be looking for that. I love this question. How do you adjust a budget when extra income does come in, a bonus, a tax refund? Great. Okay, there's a couple of ways that you can do it. I personally, I look at my financial goals. So, for example, one time when I got a bonus, I put that money straight into my children's college savings accounts. I didn't do anything else with it. Okay. So look at what your financial goals are to see where you want that money to go. Prioritize those financial goals to see what you want to do with that extra money, that bonus, that tax refund, whatever it is. If it's pay off debt, pay off the debt. If it's to save for a new car, right? We don't have to take out car loans. We can pay cash for cars. Whatever your goal is, prioritize those goals and then put that money wherever that is. But I noticed it was mostly brand name and was cheaper off. Yeah. Okay. And so Crystal, when I started couponing, I told my husband and myself that I would never coupon and buy and get things that I would not use. I only do it for the things I use. I'm not going to waste my time, even if something is super cheap. Now I have grabbed a couple of things that were free or money makers that I wasn't planning on getting because they were free or I made money off of it. But other than that, I'm not spending money on things I don't want. And I actually, before I started couponing, I asked my children and my husband, what brands, what items are you not willing to negotiate on trying something different, right? For example, my husband's been using Noxzema since he was in high school. He will not deviate from Noxzema no matter what, okay? So we're sticking to Noxzema. We started doing more off-brand items, right? And even my dog got cheaper dog food, because if I'm doing Walmart brand, my dog is not getting that high expensive dog food anymore either, right? But there are ways, subscribe and save through Amazon if that's where you're going to spend your money. But you got to know what's important to you and prioritize that. Maybe we can talk more about that in the coupon presentation. Any ideas for making some extra cash? Yeah. Okay. So I didn't really have time to go through those second side hustles. But there are a lot of ways. Yeah. So I'm just going to throw out some ideas. DoorDash, Uber Eats, those are probably two most common. Have any of y'all ever heard of Party Pics? They're a photography company. We have an Oklahoma City Party Pics and a Norman Party Pics here in Oklahoma. So they go and they take pictures at different events and they get paid for each one of those events. They teach you how to use the camera. Any skill that you have, you can hone. Yes. And by the way, I worked for Party Pics when I was at OU. So yeah. Any skill that you have, you can use that to try to make money off of it. Bartending, yes. Service industry. Yeah. And college students, I want you to think about this. You can go work for a retailer making minimum wage, but you can make a lot more money in the service industry. So consider that when you're looking at your different jobs. My 17-year-old son has learned that, and I don't think his part-time job will be anything other than the service industry at this point. House cleaning, yeah. Ask people that if they need their dog walked, their house cleaned, their yard mowed. Lots of different ideas. Selling plasma, absolutely. That is one way. They have a place in Norman. Actually, one of my photographers, when I worked for Party Pics, he sold his plasma too, in addition to working for Party Pics when he was in college. Real estate. Yeah, I actually worked with a teacher who did real estate as well as being a teacher. I was a teacher for 9 years, and I don't think I said that. School bus driver. Awesome. Buy garage sale, estate sale, clearance items, and then sell them. Yes, there's a lot of people that do that. My father does that as well. So I know I don't trust myself in that. I don't know that I know what to look for and how to make money off different things. I know what I like, but I don't know what other people like. Teaching yoga, fantastic. So then you get your exercise in and you are making money, right? So don't pay for a gym membership. Let the gym pay you, right? Okay. Tutoring, that's another great way. More public schools just sent out an email to all the parents that they're looking for tutors. So FYI, they're looking for tutors. There's so many ways to make extra money. Okay, did I answer all questions? If I didn't, repost it, or again, email me. You have I'm going to post my email again, csheaffer@ou.edu. I'm happy to help you.